We are gathering here today in this afternoon to bid farewell to His Excellency Abdoulie Janneh, Under Secretary General and the Executive Secretary of the UN ECA, who has led the ECA for the last 7 years and exiting on a very high note. I think you would agree with me the 7 years Mr. Janneh spent as a captain and steering the work of the ECA in Africa were well spent years. I think the journey started when he walks into this institution, 2006, by embarking on a very serious repositioning exercise, which was premised and guided by principles of excellence, cost-effectiveness, and enhanced partnership to improve delivery at the program, managerial, organization, and intergovernmental levels, and also anchored on 2 pillars: promoting regional integration and addressing Africa, helping Africa to meet its special needs. Looking back on this, I think a lot has been achieved within these 7 years under his leadership. Another area which probably stands alone as an area which has seriously been addressed is the improvement in the convening potential of the ECA. You will all agree with me, instruments and gatherings like the Conference of Ministers, the annual Conference of Ministers of Finance, Development and Economic Planning. I would like to think it became an annual event where serious policymakers at the top level of the continent gather to take note, to exchange, to discuss serious finance, development, and planning issues of the continent. The ADF, Africa Development Forum, became a biennial event that gathers stakeholders from all walks of life, from Africa and beyond, from government, civil society, private sectors, and others. I think the various committees like CODIS, governance, gender, environment, and sustainable development, and all that. When Abdoulie Janneh leave this institution, he should be very proud that the 7 years that he spent here were worthwhile, and I think he should be proud that he was part of this success story. He put it on the right track and make it relevant to the Africa development issues and challenges. For that, we would like to commend him. We're going to miss him. I think it's in the nature of life to start somewhere, but I think he should be also proud that he is living in an institution that is in good health, good shape, and I'm sure we will all going to miss him.
I wish to recall the first town hall meeting with Mr. Janneh when he arrived 7 years ago in this very same room, where he expressed his delight and anticipation to work with the most highly educated workforce of the region, and how he would look forward to join hands to impact those who is called upon. He further pointed out that day that he had heard so much about the personnel he would meet and how he was ready for the challenges. Sure enough, today we end the journey that took us through the storm and fire at the call of the international civil servant is no smooth ride. As a staff representative, I remember those moments when we did not entirely agree with you in our negotiations on the table, where we departed on our ways to find a win-win solution in executing our respective mandate as staff and management. The smooth process of one-time conversion to permanent status, the battle of the reclassification of the duty station, the continued trial of the dollar-pegged request for the GS salary, the effort to reduce the number of staff on the GTAF post, securing a post for the Office of the Staff Legal Assistant to empower staff with equal arms before the law, are a few among many that we could count as a joint achievement. There are still many issues to address and new ones that will emerge. However, as the saying goes, Rome was not built in one day, and we shall continue to pass the stick. Mr. Executive Secretary, finally, I would like to end by saying thank you for your service to ECA and African region, and assure you our best wishes in your future endeavors.
As many of you here, I believe, do know, Mr. Janneh came to UNECA with a wealth of development experience and tremendous insights of the challenges facing the African continent. Colleagues, Mr. Abdoulie Janneh's term, heading the Economic Commission for Africa, this important UN institution with a long history of service to the African continent, must undoubtedly have challenged his development knowledge and capacity, even for a man of such tremendous experience and wealth of knowledge. But I'm sure all of you here will agree with me that Mr. Janneh rose to the demands of the occasion, having strengthened ECA's strategic positioning, as we heard earlier on, particularly at the forefront of Africa's development discourse, whether it is on climate change, whether the subject is Africa's place in the increasingly fragile global economy, whether it relates to addressing food security, whether it has to do with strengthening the capacities of the institutions of governance, or promoting regional integration, which happens to be Mr. Janneh's passion. And I can personally attest to this. And I know this for a fact, that Mr. Janneh lives, he breathes, and he sleeps Africa's regional integration. In all these domains, ECA has remained a trusted and respected voice with a strong convening power, as we heard earlier on this continent. It gives me great pleasure to note that during Mr. Janneh's tenure in this country, the partnership between UNECA and the UN country team has grown stronger by the day. As UN resident coordinator, and on behalf of the entire UN country team here in Ethiopia, I would like to say a big thank you to you, sir, for bringing our organizations much closer together. ECA's strong contribution to the work of the UN country team is a reflection of its senior leadership's commitment to jointly support the UN's engagement and enhance the development impact of our collective work. Sir, the UN country team here in Ethiopia will greatly miss your leadership. We will miss your warmth. We will miss your very strong sense of partnership. And above all, we will miss your commitment to the development of the continent of Africa. Personally, I will miss your guidance, I will miss your wise counsel, and I will miss your rich networks that you never hesitated to lend to support my work as resident coordinator in this country. As the popular saying goes, I know that you are only retiring, Mr. Janneh, and that you are not tired. And for that matter, I'm certain that this UN country team, myself, and indeed the continent of Africa, will continue to benefit from your rich experience and knowledge for many, many, many more years to come. We wish you all the best. We do wish you good health, and we wish you God's abundant blessings.
As you all know, Mr. Janneh travels a lot and has his preference. I've learned a lot from those moments. This was a gentleman who would not miss his words to communicate his views, but who would also give you a working space to consider competing options if provided with the right kind of arguments. The encounters were brief but very productive. I guess with very busy people like Mr. Janneh, one has to optimize the use of their time. I should add, and it is a very important detail, that Mr. Janneh has an extraordinary memory. So my storyline with him then and always has been consistent, truthful, and objective. I'd be exposing otherwise. The preparations of the February 2007 Big Table on Managing Africa's Natural Resources for Growth and Poverty Reduction, a watershed event conceptualized by Mr. Janneh and Mr. Kaberuka, the President of the African Development Bank, and organized under the direct leadership of the executive secretary, marked my engagement with Mr. Janneh at the substantive level. Again, the same traits are charming, unassuming, comforting, and I dare to say, fatherly presence that empowered and trusted staff to deliver the goods and raise the profile of the organization. Mr. Janneh, I could continue endlessly to enumerate the flagship initiatives you have championed these last 7 years. Instead, I will stop here, and on behalf of all my colleagues in the SROs, I will take this opportunity to thank you for all your contribution and dedication to the cause of Africa, for the support you have provided to us, and for your leadership, mentorship, and friendship. We wish you and your family well in your future endeavors. Thank you.
We can comfortably say today that as he is leaving us, the 10-year capacity building program has the full buy-in and ownership by the AU. In fact, we are now being called upon by some departments of the AU to assist in implementing key regional integration programs. All the clusters and sub-clusters are now co-chaired by the AU and the UN. Many thanks, Mr. Janneh, for your untiring efforts in this regard. Your leadership in our joint efforts to support the AU and its organs is commendable and will remain a living memory to us all. We miss you personally for those who had more than professional relationship with you, as well as professionally. We will build on your legacy. We can assure you about that, Mr. Janneh. May God, Allah bless you and your beloved family as you venture into a new life without us.
Let me also join the deputy to salute the late Prime Minister. He was my friend. He supported me. He gave me access. There's not a single time I wanted to see him and I couldn't see him. And every time I saw him, it was the most engaging thing that you could imagine. And we did a lot of things together, a lot of things. He was coming to that. Well, I'm not like Eugene. I was not very much involved in Ethiopia, but on continental issues and on this, he was without parallel, both intellectually, both his engagement, his vision. It was incredible, incredible human being. We do hope that somebody will emerge. Maybe Eugene, one of these days, will become Prime Minister. But it's very difficult. So we will miss Prime Minister Meles Zenawi. We hope his soul will rest in peace, and we'll continue to cherish his legacy and really push some of those things that were very close to his heart. I came in here. I remember my first meeting very vividly. I spoke to you, and I really told you the challenges that we were facing at that time. There is the former Secretary General who brought me here, Kofi Annan, had put this high-level team together which was looking at the continuing relevance of the UN and various components of the UN. And some of them were saying, in Africa we do not need the ECA. We do not need the ECA because we have the AU, we have the African Development Bank, so really our best bet is to gradually phase out the Economic Commission for Africa. I came here, I put those issues on the table, and I said, let us take a hard look at ourselves. And I was amazed at the enthusiasm that I found amongst the staff, your willingness to be rational, your willingness to say, are we serving Africa, and if so, how best can we do so? So we had a team together, but it was just a core team. The team was just a facilitating team. Every member of the commission here was a member of that team. And together we came to the conclusion, yes, ECA is relevant. Yes, these are some of the things that ECA could do, and the deputy and others have gone through that. I will not tell you. And then we took it from there. I am proud of what we are leaving behind. And there are many elements of what we are leaving behind. One of them is the SROs, and I'm glad to thank Pedro for speaking on behalf of SROs, because when I came here also I told you that I believed in the SROs. I believed in the ECA headquarters, but that given our geographical coverage, it will make sense that we strengthen our our SROs so that they represent us. They are a mirror image of what ECA is to the continent, that they are a mirror image of what they will be to the regional economic communities. And this also worked very well. We managed to get some resources for them. We have some very dynamic people leading them, one of which, of course, is Antonio Pedro. And I'm very proud of this. And I said, by the time I leave, some of you would want to go and be in the SROs. Yeah. And I have no doubt in my mind that, some of these great programs that we put in place, some of these institutional renewals that we have done and so on, will continue. Irrespective of who comes as executive secretary, he will have before him a bunch of very dedicated, competent staff who will move this agenda. Whilst we are doing this also, we did not forget that things happen because of people. And therefore we have to encourage you, we have to support you. You all have your aspirations, career-wise, otherwise, and so on. And it is always very difficult to fulfill this. And people's impression sometimes of where they find themselves, or their appreciation of a given structure, a given institution, is based on whether they feel that they are benefiting from it personally and so on. And this was a very difficult thing to square, that we have so many people, and how do we satisfy the needs of everybody. But I looked at the statistics today. In the 7-year period, we promoted 560 staff. I repeat that, 560. Of that, 120 were professional, but 440 were GS staff. And I hope that this will continue. We also try to look at your clinic, because I'm sure this is also an area, because first you want to be promoted, but you also wanted to remain healthy. It was very difficult. The resources they are giving us, just like ECA, you don't have the resources. You want to buy the medicine, you want to get the best doctors, you want to do that, you want to be evacuated and so on. It's a very difficult equation to solve. We try to do our best. We brought in a consultant who looked at it and so on. And I hope that as time goes on, your appreciation of what is there will continue. We also wanted to give you a voice through your staff representatives. And I think we did our best in doing this. And here I salute Doreen and other members of the management team who met regularly with the staff union, and whom I also salute, because I think they were very reasonable, they were engaging, they had the interest of the staff at heart, and this is a practice that I hope will continue. I want to thank my colleagues in the two Pan-African institutions that helped me forge this relationship that you talk about, the African Union and African Development Bank. First it was Konare, and then Champagne, who are really great believers in what ECA does, and Donald Kaberuka. And I think this relationship, I'm mentioning it because every partnership is important, but this relationship particularly is vital. It's vital for our continent, and it's vital for the existence and continued relevance of ECA. Any day, I repeat, any day, you disconnect yourself from these institutions, you are on your road to death. No doubt about that. The African Union is our continental union. It is the African Union that decides the priorities for Africa. So let us join them in defining those priorities. Let us join them in saying, how do we meet those priorities? Let us join them in saying, in meeting these priorities, this is the comparative advantage of ECA. If we follow that equation, we will never fail. So I am leaving convinced beyond any reasonable doubt that we have refocused our organization, we have restructured it, and we will go from strength to strength. As for me, do I know what I'm going to do exactly at this point in time? Once in my life, let me decide what I'm going to do without any pressure. It's been a great experience. It's been a pleasant experience. It's been a rewarding experience. It's been a motivating experience. It's an experience I will never forget. So with those few words, I say again, thank you very much. Thank you.